Hi, it's Greg Vincent here and welcome to today's webinar on the Ultimate Attraction Agent. In this session, we're going to talk about one of the fastest ways that you can create a unique selling proposition in your marketplace. You'll also discover how becoming the Ultimate Attraction Agent makes getting results faster and easier, plus how to dramatically increase the odds in your favor and become the agent who gets called in. But firstly, there's two important questions you should ask no matter what training, what webinars you're tuning into, no matter who you're taking advice or recommendations from. And those two important questions are, who are you and what have you done? And that's why I just want to share a quick bumper sticker around who I am and what's got me to here today. You see, I'm a family man, I'm married with two teenage daughters, I've had 20 plus years as a real estate principal, we've had 7 offices, 3 different franchise groups that we operated under during that time, plus we also went independent. We handled residential, project marketing, commercial industrial, apartments, rural and property management. And then what I did was I went on to further just discover what's happening out there and the changes taking place in our industry, which led me on a path of discovery to personally visit over 2,000 real estate offices. I've also consulted to John McGrath, News Limited, Real Estate Institutes, franchise groups, real estate trainers, and I've trained thousands of real estate agents across the country about social media and this online space. I don't know if you're aware, I actually came from being the most technophobic agent to now become seen as the industry authority. You see, in the office they would never let me anywhere near the computer, and basically the photocopier would break every time I touched it, and the fax machine would literally growl at me every time I walked past. So some of you tuning in on this webinar may be in a similar sort of situation within your office, I don't know. But one of the things I have found is a lot of talk out there, and you've probably heard it too, around this, I must become an attraction business or I must become an attraction agent. But the big question is, how do you do it? And that's why today we're going to talk about the 3 fast-track strategies guaranteed to help you become the ultimate attraction agent within your marketplace, so you can enjoy more listings, more money, and more time. And the first of these strategies is tapping into what sellers want. It's really important to be able to understand what sellers want out there and market directly to that, because that will attract a lot of business to you. The second one is understanding the agent selection behavior. Nowadays, agent selection is happening quite differently to what it used to years ago. And then thirdly, we need to look at strategic agent positioning. And when it comes to real estate, everyone's an expert. The bus driver, the butcher, sitting around the barbecues, at the family luncheons, what happens is everyone's in a position where they can talk about what's happening with prices in the property that's sold down the street. So your positioning needs to be that of being seen as the authority. And yet a lot of agents, what I'm seeing them do out there in the marketplace is their positioning is more along the lines of we're number one, we're the best. And now that all of the sales results are online and there's this transparency happening via the internet, a lot of consumers are doubting this type of marketing. And in fact, one of the agents I was talking to on Twitter, he said there are 4 agents in his area at the moment who are professing to be the number 1 real estate agent. So this type of strategy doesn't work anymore because you're actually found out if you're not the number 1 agent in your area. So what we need to look at doing is tap into what sellers want. So what do sellers want? Well, in the marketing and sales environment, there's a thing called the drill and hole strategy. You see, the way this works is that you've got 2 functions, the drill and the hole. And a lot of people think that everyone wants the drill. But in fact, what they want is they want the hole that the drill creates. So a lot of companies, a lot of agents go out there and sell the drill, but in fact, what happens is people actually want the hole. And there are a lot of agents also out there currently using some of these old drills, the old methods, and it's not working anywhere near as effectively as some of the new methods that are available out there in the marketplace today. You see, drills are now built with so many different functions and features in them, but fundamentally they're designed to do one thing, and that is drill the hole. And that's what the consumer wants from that drill. Now, when we look at it, what do sellers want out there in the marketplace? It's really important that we tap into the fact they're not after the drill, they're actually after the hole that the drill creates. So the number one thing that sellers want is they actually want to move. Now, I've asked a lot of agents about this, and a lot of agents say, oh, they want to have the highest price or all these different things, but fundamentally what they want to do is they want to move. And the second thing they want, and a lot of agents are marketing out there saying, we'll get you the highest price in the shortest possible time, and yet people either have two motivations at any one time. They're either trying to avoid pain or they're moving towards pleasure. Now, the biggest motivator is avoiding pain. And that's why it's important to understand that sellers actually have a fear of underselling. But yet we market towards highest price, shortest possible time, which is moving towards pleasure, whereas we want to avoid pain. And the third thing that they want is they're looking for someone that they can trust. And what's happening now is agents are out there in a position where they're pushing this barrow of trust me, trust me, trust me, I'm trustworthy, I'm honest, integrity, but that's the hard sell. What we need to look at doing nowadays is a thing that I call pre-sell, where people are in a position where they'll engage with you online, start to connect with you, and then what happens is you are then attracted to them. And it's this attract marketing versus push marketing. And a lot of agents are going out there nowadays and they're doing the telephone prospecting and the door knocking and all this push marketing. We want a free market opinion, all of that side of things. Whereas being an attraction agent is more about providing information and connecting with people and being in a position where you're attracting them to you. And I call that more of it being an information agent versus being an ego profile agent. See, it's interesting when you look at this drill and hole concept from an agent's perspective. And from a marketing point of view or sales and marketing point of view around what do real estate agents want? Well, what I understand is that the agents want the hole. They actually want automated leads and they want to get called into listing presentations. Because if you don't get called into listing presentations, then no matter how good your scripts and dialogues are, no matter how good you are at negotiation, you could be the best real estate agent negotiator in the country, but if you don't get called into the listing, then you don't get an opportunity to win the business. And by getting automated leads, it means that you're in a situation where you don't have to go out there and do that needle in the haystack type prospecting or the hard slog door knocking and cold calling and all of those sort of things. Once you start to get automated leads and get called into more and more listing presentations, then you'll get more listings, more money, and more time to share with the people that you love. You don't have to focus on spending so much time trying to chase business. The business comes to you. So how do you get called in? Well, when we look at the research and behaviour that's taking place now in this agent selection process, I don't know if you already know this, but Australian residential property sellers research their marketplace for an average 19 days prior to contacting an agent to conduct an appraisal. And the majority of this research is conducted via the internet. And when you look at the stats around this, 73% use online to research when thinking about selling properties. And the vendors consider agents as the most useful resource when researching property values and selling tips. And when you look at other stats around this is a question that was asked: which resources did you use to conduct your research when thinking about selling? And 73% said online, 69% agents in person or on the phone. Now, normally what happens is they'll call out on average 2 real estate agents. Now, you want to be one of those 2. Because once you get an opportunity to go out there and do the listing, they're going to make the decision and they're going to decide between you and normally one other agent. So if you're not in the living room, it's costing you a lot of money. You are missing out on a lot of business. 41% local papers, so print media is still relevant. 28% attending the open for inspections, 25% agency mags and brochures, 24% metro newspapers, and 16% for signboards. Now this was really interesting because years ago it used to be the case that the agent who controlled the signs controlled the sales. Well, now what's happening is that they're going online and they're doing a lot of their research in the online space. And a lot of agents are still using that old media. Now, you still do need to have that cross-media marketing mix, but the way that you do it nowadays needs to be done a lot more effectively. You see, when you think about this, this is an interesting stat. 31% of all direct mail pieces never made it in the home. They went from the letterbox straight to the bin, 31% of it, which means that there's a bucket load of money that's just being wasted. It's just going straight into the bin. Now you can think, oh, but it's building my profile, it's keeping my brand out there. There are better ways to do it. We need to look at every single part of your marketing and make it work more effectively. You see, the other part of this that's happening is that the sellers are online and they're doing their research about real estate agents, but when they go online, and especially with the major portals, when they get there, it is just become like Agent Lotto. There is this massive brand mix of agents to choose from. And when you look at this from a potential seller's perspective, it's total confusion. They have so many agents, so many brands to choose from nowadays, and all they're looking to do is they want to call in 2 agents, maybe just one, but on average 2 agents. So be careful not to throw all your eggs in the one basket and think, well, we're already on the major portals, we're on all these different websites, and that should be enough. It's definitely not, because you need to be in the position where you stand out. And another thing that's really interesting around this is there's a lot of talk, and you've probably heard trainers talk about this previously, that the listing presentation is like a job interview. Well, when you compare it to a job interview, what is happening nowadays is people are going on to Google. Employers are checking out potential employees and applicants, and when you look at this, you have 7 seconds to make a first impression, and your time starts the moment your name is typed into a search bar. To put this into perspective, 80 million names are Googled daily. 77% of employers do a Google pre-screen on applicants, and 35% of these employers eliminate candidates based on negative content. And that's exactly what's happening now with your potential clients. And I call this the silent listing killer. You see, your potential sellers go in and they'll Google your name, and what comes up under a search on your name has a massive impact on whether or not you get called in. And it's interesting when you look at all of your marketing that you do, it's all got your name on it. So whether it's your realestate.com.au subscriptions, your major portals, your business cards, your letters, your emails, your brochures, your signboards, your flyers, even having cards sign written, all sorts of things, every single part of your marketing normally has your name on it. And what happens, they go on to Google and they Google your name and they make one of 2 decisions. They either call you in or you lose the opportunity to the other agent. And the silent listing killer is costing you an absolute fortune. Our industry is being impacted by this, and a lot of agents don't even know that it's happening. It is massive, the amount of money that's being lost down the drain by agents because they haven't embraced this online space effectively enough. And the important thing to do to overcome this silent listing killer is that you've got to look at doing things differently. A lot of agents are doing similar style marketing, and the major portals are making agents look so similar out there in the marketplace that you need to be different in your market. You need to approach things in a different way. You see, it's vital that you have the winning edge, especially when it comes to the internet. When so many people are now spending their time doing their research and they're researching real estate agents, you need to get that winning edge. You see, in real estate, you either win or you get nothing. There is no podium in real estate where you get the gold medal, the silver medal, or the bronze medal. There is only the gold medal. If you don't get an opportunity to go out to the listing presentation, all that happens is you drive down the street and you see another agent sign you up on the property and you think, why didn't I get called in? The key is getting the winning edge, because once you get the winning edge, you're in a situation where you've got an opportunity to at least get that listing. Whereas if you don't and you end up coming second, you end up like this. It's just not a pretty sight. There's a lot of agents who are really struggling out there in the marketplace now. And one of the greatest reasons why is because they're in a position where they haven't embraced innovation. Well, I'm here to say that it's time for innovation. It's time to take the next step in your business. You see, one of the things I've noticed, and in most industries, there's this rate of embracing change. Normally you'll find there's about 2.5% of any industry, any population who will be seen as the innovators, who are the inventors, who launch products, who are the first in their marketplace. 13.5% are the early adopters, 34% the early majority, and then you've got 34% who are the late majority, and 16% who are the laggards. Now, when you're out there in the real estate space, when you look at this from a marketing positioning point of view, this is more how it works out. You have the innovators, who are the agents who are the first in their area to roll out certain things. And then you have the agents who see that concept, see that new strategy, and they imitate it. So you get the innovators, then you get the imitators, and then you get a lot of agents who are actually sitting back, not doing anything, and just thinking that the old way is going to come back, and they're basically the spectators. And their marketplace is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So they're really struggling to adapt. It's like they feel like there's this massive gap between where they are currently and where they need to be. And it's quite difficult to know. This internet space is such a confusing maze. It's like, where do we start? How do we get through this? How do we navigate our way? What is the first step? What's the key? What's the end game? What are we actually going to achieve by moving into this space? And when you go onto the internet to try to find the information, the internet's such a massive resource that when you go searching for the information and searching for the answers, it's like taking a drink from a fire hydrant. I don't know if you've ever experienced that yourself, but it's massive, the information that gets served up, and it's like, how on earth do you work your way through and get through this internet maze? Well, what I've done is I've actually put together the 7-step automated $1 million roadmap. And the way this works is that there are 7 levels. And what I've found is that by providing a roadmap for my agents, it's a lot easier for them to go, this is what I need to do. This is the pathway through the maze. And it's so much easier to just take one step at a time and work their way through. And I must admit, I've never seen implementation like this from real estate agents. And the reason for that is because I've put together the real estate fast track. See, I understand that you simply want the fastest, easiest, most inexpensive accelerators that fast track automated leads and create your ultimate attraction agent positioning. Plus, what I've done is I've put together some done for you strategies. These are my 3 favorite words. Done for you. It just makes it so much easier to implement and be able to move forward so much faster. And this is a major breakthrough for agents. You see, I'm an innovator and I work constantly with other innovators and other agents who are early adopters. But also what happens is that there's a lot of the majority, early majority, late majority, and the laggards who are joining the fold because I can help them to become seen as the innovators in their marketplace very, very quickly. You see, I went out and I personally visited over 2,000 real estate agents. I've done so much research into this, trying to find that one thing that changes everything. And the good news for you is that I've actually found it. And if you'd like to be a part of this, then all you need to do is go across to gregvincent.com.au/breakthrough and check it out for yourself. Because as I said, this is a major breakthrough for real estate agents. I've found that one thing that makes all the difference. And the way I've set it up is it's designed to make sure that you're in a position where you're not only seen as the innovator in your marketplace, but you can be future-proof. You can own tomorrow's market. What you did leading up to today has got you today's results, where you're at currently. What we need to do is take you to the next level so you can own tomorrow. And that's going to help you to get those automated leads and help to get you called into a lot more of those listing presentations. Because like I said, if you don't get called in, then you're just going to keep driving past other agent signs all the time and wonder why on earth you didn't get called in. And when you do get called in and you start getting these automated leads coming through, and that's when you'll have more listings, more money, more time. So if you want to check it out, just go to gregvincent.com.au/breakthrough. And thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to catching up with you on the other side.